Welcome in to another edition of Where the 99 Lead. It's a program brought to you by the University of Pikeville, where we talk about all things regarding the University of Pikeville. I'm Andrew Joyce, your host and special guest today, as we talk about one of the newer programs at the University of Pikeville, the social work program. Joined by Genesia Kilgore-Bowling, social work program director and assistant professor of social work at UPike. Welcome to Where the 99 Lead.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
Genesia, we talk about where the 99 lead, those historic 99 steps that lead to campus, but they also lead from campus back into the world, and that's exactly what the social work program is about. We want to talk about that, but first let's learn a little about Genesia Kilgore-Bowling, some of your history, how you arrived at the University of Pikeville.
Well, actually, I am a native of the area, born and raised right here in Pike County. The daughter of a coal miner, first generation college student.
Very good.
And I joined the UPike family as a faculty member in the fall of 2006. However, I was actually part of the UPike family long before that. Sure. I am actually an alum of Pikeville College. I am a product of the institution, if you will. And being at the university for my 4 years, I had this amazing feeling of I was home. I just knew that I was home. It was where I was supposed to be. And so I never really wanted to get too far from that. So after my 4 years on the Hill, I thought I've got to continue. That they've instilled this love of lifelong learning in me. I've got to go on. So I enrolled at the University of Kentucky College of Social Work, the MSW program.
Right.
And after I completed my MSW, I was out practicing in the field, you know, enjoying my time as a professional social worker. And a former professor from the University of Kentucky contacted me with an opportunity to do some adjunct teaching.
Right.
So I thought, you know, I'll give it a try. So I accepted the challenge. And I guess you could say I was bitten by the teaching bug.
Yes.
Yeah. And so in order to become the best instructor that I could be, I decided to enroll in the University of Kentucky College of Social Work doctoral program, basically to learn a little more about research and teaching and learning.
Right.
And then in 2006, like I said, the opportunity arose for me to come back to Pikeville, to UPike. And it may sound a little bit trite, but I saw that as my chance to give back to the community and the institution that had given me so much. So
coming back home.
Yeah, and here I am.
Talk to so many people from the university, and the word that they bring up is family. It truly feels like family, in spite of the growth that's happened in recent years and doubling in enrollment. Let's talk about that. From your time as a student, first until you came back in 2006, what were the changes like on the Hill?
Oh, wow. It still had the home-like family environment, but there were so many more people, new faces, constantly seeing new faces, new academic programs.
Right.
It was exciting. It was a huge adjustment for me to go from being student to being faculty.
Yes. Because
many of the faculty were now my colleagues. They had taught me in courses.
Sure.
So, you know, that's been a bit of adjustment, but it's been wonderful. I think that many of the faculty members take a little pride in the fact that, hey, you know, I had something to do with her education and her training, and she's back, and she's giving back. And so it's home. Andrew, what can I say? It's home.
Absolutely. Talking with Genesia Kilgore-Bowling, Social Work Program Director at the University of Pikeville. We'll talk social work. I promise we'll get there.
Absolutely.
You came back to UPike 2006, then Pikeville College, and you had been a student. You're an alum of Pikeville College. You come back, now you're a member of the faculty in 2006, now 2013. Wow, that's tough to say. Talk about some of the changes that have occurred on campus since you came back.
I don't know where to begin. There's so many.
Sure.
New buildings, new academic programs. We are growing by leaps and bounds. I feel very blessed to be a part of that process. I think what I am most proud of is the fact that we have grown so much, and we're creating more of that traditional college experience, but at the same time, it can feel like home. People feel safe. They feel like they can be who they need to be, and they experience amazing professional and personal growth because of that atmosphere. You know, for all the bricks and mortar, I have to say that I am most proud of the fact that that home-like atmosphere hasn't changed.
Yeah. While that is still there,
Yes.
the atmosphere on the
Yes.
hill now seems to be energized.
It is. It is very much energized. The faculty seem to have a little more pep in their step,
Yeah.
and the students obviously do. There's no shortage of things to do and projects to get involved in. And I think because of that growth and that energy, it's contagious. And I think that it's going to continue. I think that the growth that we've seen in the past 3 or 4 years is going to pale in comparison to the growth we're going to see in the next 3 or 4 years.
Possibly in the day when you were a student, I've heard the terminology used that Pikeville College was more of a commuter college at that time, and that's changed somewhat. With the growth, there are more students that live on campus. Has that changed the type of students that you're seeing in the classroom?
I don't think so. We have a lot of little jokes among, you know, the faculty and staff, and we often tease about what's the difference between a college freshman and a high school senior.
Yes.
Well, just a few months.
Yes.
That's the only difference. I don't think that the students have changed. I think that for a while the university saw a little bit of a decline in the number of non-traditional students that were enrolling, but that is changing. We're starting to see more and more of the older student enroll, particularly among veterans. We have quite a few, you know, veterans. Now that they're coming back home, they're looking for a new career, and we're starting to see them enroll with us, and even in the social work program.
Right.
Yeah.
Very good. It's a growing program. It's a new program at the University of Pikeville. You're tuned to Where the 99 Lead. We're talking with Genesia Kilgore-Bowling, Social Work Program Director and Assistant Professor of Social Work at the University of Pikeville. And Genesia, let's talk about the history of the Social Work Program at the University of Pikeville and why it was added as a major.
The evolution of the social work program really is a reflection of the institution's commitment to meeting the needs of Appalachia. Many years ago, the administration of then Pikeville College took a look at the service area, and they saw a service area plagued with a lot of social problems and an infrastructure that wasn't able to support the problems that were in the area. And so to meet that need, they developed a human services area of concentration. And for many years, that program did a wonderful service to the community by producing graduates that helped to build up the social service infrastructure and help address some of those problems. Unfortunately, because of regulations and licensure requirements, the human service degree quickly became limited in scope and application.
Right.
And it wasn't really doing anything for our students, and it was beginning to not promote well-being in our community. And so that sort of, I think, began the process of, well, what else can we do? Along with that, during the same time, we started to see some demographic shifts happening in our community. One of those being the aging baby boomers began to hit 60 plus. And there's just not the resources. The resources did not exist to address their needs.
Right.
And so this placed a lot of stress on an already burdened rural social service system, particularly in terms of health care.
Sure.
And again, around that same time, I think it was in 2003, there was a lot of attention given to the evolving drug culture in southern and eastern Kentucky.
Right.
I think it happened primarily after the Lexington Herald leader put out an article about prescription for pain, focusing on the problems with the prescription pain pill misuse.
Right.
And of course, our elected officials and local leaders, jumped in. What can we do to fix this? And we saw a lot of treatment centers being developed, and we needed staff for those treatment centers.
Right.
And what we realized that no matter how many treatment centers we had a shortage of professionals, not only in number but also in qualifications. So that was going on at the same time. And then to add insult to injury, I guess you could say, a needs assessment, an adult educational needs assessment was done around the same time. And this needs assessment revealed that adults in our area had to travel not only outside of the county, but outside of a 5-county region in order to seek education and training in the occupations that were the quickest growing in our area, our Big Sandy area development,
Sure.
area of development. And social work was one of those. And so taking all of that in and putting it into a nice picture, I think the university realized, wow, we've got to do something. And the best thing that we can do is to make sure that we provide our service area with the best qualified, trained professionals that we could. And how they decided to do that was through the development of a social work major. So in 2005, a group of a lot of people got together and started making plans
Sure.
for that to happen. I feel very blessed that I was able to be a part of that as just a social work consult at that time. And after a couple of years of hard work, in the spring of 2007, the Board of Trustees approved the major,
Right.
and it was fully implemented in the fall of that year.
Very good. And of course, the social work program, we've had an opportunity to talk to some of the students
Yes.
from that program. And it's one of the best shows that we've had, talking with those students. I always
I like
enjoy
to
talking
think
to
so.
students. No offense. I love faculty, I love staff, I love administration, but when I have an opportunity to talk with the students at the university, I feel some of that energy. They bring it with them.
Sure.
And as they talked about the social work program and meeting the needs in the community, you could sense that they truly had found their calling.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it is an important calling here in our rural area. Just as the Kentucky College of Osteopathic Medicine met the need for rural doctors,
Yes.
now the University of Pikeville meeting the need for rural social workers. We want to talk more about the program. Talking with Genesia Kilgore-Bowling, Social Work Program Director and Assistant Professor of Social Work at the University of Pikeville. It's one of the newest majors on the Hill, and you're tuned to Where the 99 Lead, talking about the University of Pikeville, and today focused on the social work program. Social work's forecasted as one of the fastest growing fields in the country by the U.S. Department of Labor. What are some of the factors that have led to this? We've talked about the Lexington Herald, the pill article, and the focus on that. And while we take offense sometimes to some of the things that are written by newspapers from out of the area, there certainly is a truth to the problems that we have. We recognize those, and I think the social work program trying to address those. But what are some of the other factors that have led to the growth?
From outside of the profession, things going on in the society, we're seeing record numbers of people with cancer.
Yes.
Our healthcare system is very stressed. Even in larger metropolitan areas, lack of healthcare is still a problem for many populations, particularly minorities. We're also starting to see, because of the drug problem, not only in our area but across the nation,
Sure.
an overcrowding in our criminal justice system. There just isn't enough room in our jails and our prison system. So we're seeing more and more nonviolent offenders with drug problems being sentenced to complete treatment,
Right.
as opposed to being punished by serving time in the criminal justice system. We're also seeing problems with in the mental health system. The mental health system has been wrought with problems for many years, since the inception of community mental health centers in the 60s.
Sure. But
it's becoming more and more problematic as people are beginning to overcome the stigma of mental health and are reaching out to get some help. So there's a need for professionals. And the beautiful thing about social work is that with all of these problems and all of these different areas, you don't need different professionals to address those. Social workers, particularly on an undergraduate level, are trained in a generalist approach. And what that means is that they don't have a a special area that they concentrate on. They are trying to work with any number of individuals, families, small groups, communities, organizations, and even on a societal level to address any number of problems. Social workers are one of the few professions that are readily able to say, hey, people don't live in a vacuum. So we can't just look at individual problems or individual pathology. We have to look at what's going on in the environment that may be contributing to some of this. And because of the unique nature of social work, I think that also is one of the factors that it is a growing profession, because there's so much that you can do with a degree. Especially in rural Appalachia, social workers have a reputation of being, well, we jokingly refer to it within the profession as baby snatchers.
Yes.
People think that they only do child protective services work, and they don't realize the benefits of social workers in their lives. The mission, the goal of social work is just to improve an individual's and society's well-being, their ability to function and to reach their highest potential. And the areas that we can make a difference in it's limitless. It's limitless.
It's a great program, the social work program at the University of Pikeville, and recently granted accreditation. We'll talk about that in a moment. But if someone's entering the social work program at the University of Pikeville, what type of curriculum will they face?
Oh, goodness. It's a rigorous curriculum. It's
Sounds
a good
like
one. It is. Because they are based upon a generalist model, our students learn a great deal about theory. Theory from within the profession that we've generated, what we found works best, but also we borrow from other professions. There's no unique body of knowledge. I think we all borrow from different areas, and
Sure.
social work is no different. We borrow from sociology, psychology, biology, political science, economics, social policy, you name it. We borrow from that because we want to equip our students with as much knowledge as we can so that they have a complex worldview and a good understanding of human behavior, not only with just the individual, but also how the environment impacts that. Our students also can expect to take courses in skill. And by skill, I mean interviewing techniques, how to do assessments,
Sure.
how to develop intervention plans, how to do crisis stabilization, those sort of things. They also have courses to take in writing. Believe it or not, we have a professional communications course that requires them to write professional clinical notes,
Right.
to write even referral letters, to write court reports, and so on and so forth. Students also take a course in ethics.
Sure.
Our profession is grounded in the profession's values and ethics, and it's a huge part of what we do, focusing on self-determination and empowerment. And another unique aspect of social work is that we focus on strengths, on an individual's strengths. Whereas a lot of other professions focus on pathology, what is wrong with the individual, we tend to take the opposite approach and say, okay, what is it about this individual that is working for them? What's good about them? And how do we use that to help address what's going on in their life?
Right.
So it really does go a long way to empower them and show them that there is so much more and we can help you get there. So, that's a huge piece of it. I guess probably the most important part of our curriculum is our field education.
Sure.
In fact, within the profession, we refer to field education as our signature pedagogy. And what that means is that our students spend a great deal of time, many, many hours, in fact, a little over 400 hours a semester, in an agency actually working.
Right.
Our accrediting body requires that they actually carry a caseload. So it's not a shadowing. It's not just, hanging around with social workers.
Yeah.
It is actually getting their hands dirty
Right.
and doing the work and following a client and doing what they can to increase that client's functioning levels.
Just as a med student spends time in a clinic,
Absolutely.
hands-on experience, and nursing students spend time in a clinical setting as well, the social workers as well.
Yes, the experiential piece is very important. It provides an education that we can't mimic in the classroom.
Right.
And that goes far beyond even what we do for our students. In fact, right now, the social work program is actually hosting a group of students from Elon University from North Carolina.
I know exactly where it is.
Yeah, we're hosting them for a domestic study away program. I've been working with one of their instructors since last spring to work out the details and fine-tune it. They arrived late last week and are being placed in agencies in the area so that they can get a little glimpse of what it's like to navigate a rural social service system, its strengths, its weaknesses, and its people. My colleague Diane Van Cleve has done a wonderful job in placing them and talking to the agencies and preparing them for these students. So, we not only support it with our own students, but we support it across the board. Yeah.
Very good. Genesia Kilgore-Bowling, the social work program director at the University of Pikeville, our guest. And we mentioned the UPike social work program's recent accreditation from the Council on Social Work Education. What did that process involve, and what difference does that accreditation make to graduates and potential employers of UPike social work graduates?
Sure. Accreditation was a very long process. Yeah, it took us about 5 years, and it's a process of showing our accrediting body that our institution can provide the best of the best for our social work students. They examine our program in terms of the university's infrastructure, whether it can support a social work program. They examine our curriculum, our faculty, our resources. It's really a very intense, detailed process.
Sure.
Of course, we had no trouble meeting all of the benchmarks, and like you said, we were recently granted that initial accreditation, and our site team had wonderful things to say about our program. In fact, I think they used words like a hidden jewel in the mountains and cutting edge, so we're very proud of that. But we're mostly proud of what this does for our students.
Sure.
Graduating from an accredited social work program not only gives students a leg up in the academic world by allowing them to go into a Master's of Social Work program as advanced standing, meaning that they complete their master's degree in about half the number of hours because they already have the foundation.
Right.
But in terms of employment, it allows them to be licensed. And that gives them a little edge as far as being marketable in a time where unemployment rates are through the roof.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Has UPike seen its first social work graduates?
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. I think we've graduated about somewhere between 10 or 15 now.
How's placement going?
Wonderfully. Well, most all of our students have either gone on to graduate school or are working and giving back in the community, and sometimes both.
Right.
Many times they enter distance learning education programs where they can take classes in the evenings while they are working. Nothing warms my heart more than to see our graduates out making a difference and to see them. We have a graduate who works at Judy's Place for Kids, and so when I see her doing what she does within the community and coordinating events and using all of those skills and the knowledge that she gained from her time with us on the Hill, my heart just swells.
Genesia Kilgore-Bowling, Social Work Program Director at the University of Pikeville, our guest on this edition of Where the 99 Lead, talking about one of the newest majors on the Hill. And you mentioned going on to school and looking for an advanced degree. What are those advanced degree and job opportunities for social work majors?
With an undergraduate degree in social work, as far as advanced degrees, obviously most of our students go after the MSW, the Master in Social Work. However, they don't have to do that. Many of our students, maybe those who are interested more in the mental health aspect, go on to graduate programs in psychology. We even have a student graduating this spring who is going to go to law school to focus on family law.
Sure.
We've had students do counseling programs, students to go on and look at doing graduate programs focusing on social policy, to do analysis of social policies and of politics. So there's a lot of different options as far as advanced degrees. Now, employment opportunities with with an undergraduate degree in social work, limitless. You with the undergraduate degree, because it is a generalist degree, it gives you the ability to think outside of the box in what you can do, because your skill set is so large. Right. So you don't have to limit yourself to just child protective services or community mental health centers or drug treatment centers. Gerontology is an up-and-coming field. Sure. School social work is becoming increasingly more important as we have more and more violence in schools and bullying in schools. So there's a lot of different options in that areas. Court systems are employing social workers more and more. Our biggest employer of social workers, though, is the Veterans Administration, the VA system. Sure. Yeah. And so there's the job opportunities are limitless there. I mean, I could go on and on all day about the jobs.
Yeah, it sounds like there are so many out there, and there's a great need.
There is.
You mentioned earlier the aging baby boomers, and as they do age, and that number increases, more and more social workers needed. In our area, the need will be there for several years.
Yes.
Social work degree at the University of Pikeville. It's now accredited, and it's now available for students. Maybe if someone's approaching college age, maybe someone's looking to go back to college that hasn't finished their degree, a non-traditional student. I could see this being a great program for someone that has a few more years than someone coming just out of college. I can see them fitting into this program nicely. If someone is tuned in and they're interested in the social work program at the University of Pikeville, what can they do to learn more?
Oh, they could log on to the UPike website, actually. There's a lot of information there, as well as our curriculum and even an application for admission to the program that can be found there. They could also give me a call. They could reach me at 218-5011. I would love to just sit down and talk with them about the program and the opportunities in the area. We'd really like for them to come up and just visit with us. Sure. Come and sit in on our classes. Right. We would love that. Take part in some of our service learning projects. Maybe even become involved with our Student Social Work Association. You don't have to be a major or even a student to get involved with that. And learn a little bit more about social work. I think the more that people learn about social work, the more that they will appreciate and even learn to love the profession.
Absolutely. Seems to be making a difference in our communities already. The newest major, one of the newest majors at the University of Pikeville, Genesia Kilgore-Bowling, Social Work Program Director, Assistant Professor of Social Work at the University of Pikeville. Great program. I look forward to having you back.
Thank you.
I got a feeling we could spend a little more time talking about this program.
I think we could.
Absolutely. It's a great program. It's needed in our area here in Appalachia, in our rural community, and something that we're very proud of. You've been tuned to Where the 99 Lead. It's brought to you by the University of Pikeville, the leading university of Central Appalachia. Thanks for tuning in.